Well, as I always say, Fridays is just a day right before the weekend. So today we're going to be doing something very interesting. So if you guys are big fans of the Japanese wrestling scene, you're always on the right channel. But however, this is a very unique type of review because I don't know if I have done this before because I keep forgetting how many episodes I've done. Because since right now we're in episode 2096, today is all about All Japan Pro Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So yes, basically they're side by side in this episode, of course, to review. So I'll explain a little bit more about this towards the end of the episode. That's why. So, as you probably can guess, for All Japan, they just began their latest series called the Superpower Series, and it happened, of course, just recently. This is day one. But however, for New Japan, we continue with more of the best of the Super Juniors with day 9, and I think we have a bit of a mixture of both the A and the B block. Yes, we have one B block match and 4 A block matches. So it's going to be interesting. And then, of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates, giving you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers, let's get started. So, as I said before, it's all about the Japanese wrestling scene, so let's begin with All Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, All Japan Pro Wrestling. This is day one of the Superpower series, and this happened in Shin-Kiba First Ring, of course. We opened up with singles action. We have Yosutaka Yano, who I believe is the latest young boy into the All Japan family. He faces against Ryoki Honda. Now, Ryoki Honda, as you probably know, he is a veteran and a former champion. You know, he knows exactly what he needs to do. But of course, this was going to end with Honda picking up the win. He applied his finishing move known as the final event, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Honda picked up the win. Next up, we have tag team action. We have Dan Tamura and Hokuto Omori. They take on Hayo Ogawa and Seigo Tachibana. Now, the match was okay, and it was doing very well. However, Ogawa and Tachibana, well, let's just say they were some miscues where Ogawa, of course, accidentally was trying to hit one of the either Tamura or Omori, but he ended up hitting Tachibana. And then it's the same thing with the reverse. Tachibana to accidentally hits Ogawa. So it's like, oh, I'm sorry. But unfortunately, Ogawa was the one who ended up on the wrong side of the power bomb by Van Tamura. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios, it's over. Next up, we have the members of Havoc, Zion, as you all know him as Zion Quinn back in NXT. He teams up with Shohiro Ashino, and they team up with Musashi, who many of you may know. About a year ago, he actually left Michinoku Pro, going on his own. They take on Aizoki Ayogi and Rising Hayato. They team up with Go Shiozaki. Now, this is where things got a little confusing for me because if you have noticed, I have not been, of course, reviewing All Japan Pro Wrestling recently, but I did a little digging. Now, for those who may not know, Go Shiozaki originally came from Pro Wrestling Noah last year, but he left after his contract expired, but he made a shocking surprise appearance in All Japan. And then he joined the faction known as Havoc. However, I was like wondering why are they on the opposite side of each other. Well, it just turned out recently, days prior, May 26th, Go Shiozaki made the choice that he was stepping down away from Havoc. It was nothing against towards them, but of course, according to what it was reported, Zion seems like he preferred to have Go Shiozaki to be the opposite side of them. So basically, like, be an enemy that of sorts. But everything turned out great. I mean, it was a pretty good match. Not gonna lie about that. Um, but it was a very powerhouse, if you know what I mean. But unfortunately, Musashi ended up being on the wrong side of the Go Larry by Shiozaki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Next time we have Kuma Arashi. Oh, yep, he takes on Ryo Inoue. Now, of course, Arashi, he is a very strong powerhouse. He can definitely try to take you down with all his strength and might. Hion, Ryo Aino, he actually is a pretty good wrestler, good junior heavyweight. But I knew he was not going to withstand with the powerhouse of Arashi because he took him out. He splashed him like a pancake when he applied a senton onto him. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios. Next up, we have Shota Kofuji teaming up with Yuma Anzai. Now, for the record, I just found out Yuma Anzai is this year's winner for the Champion Carnival, which is their version of the G1 Climax. I did not do the whole thing. I apologize, but there's no use of doing that. So he won. I'm not sure if he's going to be challenging for the Crippled Crown or he already did. I'm not sure. But anyway, their opponents is Yuma Aoyogi and Daisuke Sekimoto. Pretty good matchup, but however, when you have someone like Kofuji is, of course, the, how do I say this? The least experienced of everybody in the ring. The reason I say this, he was a young boy, so basically he has to pick up the pace from everyone else. And unfortunately, it wasn't him who lost the match. It was Yuna Anzai who ended up on the wrong side of a somewhat of a suplex by Aoyogi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios. Our main event, we had a very interesting team up. We have our current Triple Crown champion Kento Miyahara teaming up with the Saito brothers, Jun and Ri, of course. They take on the Titans of Calamity, Talos and Ren Nayabe, our current tag champions, and they team up with Hideki Suzuki. So I thought it was a pretty interesting team up. But man, it was a pretty good match. But in the end, it was, of course, Rei Sato who picked up the win when he gave a bit of a knockdown blow up to Ayame onto the chest, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. So it was a pretty good show, not gonna lie. So I had a lot of fun. So we'll see how things roll up from there. Hopefully I get to see day 2 of this. We'll just wait. But for now, let's move on with our last review, and that is, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling as we continue with more of Best of the Super Juniors 33. This is, of course, day 9, and this is just a recent show, of course. They were at the Nagita Tsubina Civic Gymnasium, of course. We opened up with a match from the B block. We have Yoshinobu Kanemaru taking on Hayo. However, of course, Hayo, of course, has issues towards the House of Torture because Sho took his little pet cat with him. Not an actual pet, but more like a stuffed animal, in case anybody asks. But of course, there was going to be dirty tricks coming from Kanemaru. We know because he's a member of the House of Losers, because these losers like to cheat. They think they're tough. And of course, we did see, of course, Sho showed up with, of course, the cage that contained Hayo's pet, and of course, F and Dick Togo showed up to make sure that the games are played. But however, let's just say things didn't go according to plan like they would have hoped for, because Hayo gave Dick Togo the blood mist onto him, and then of course it was the cutter by Hayo onto Kanemaru, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. He picked up the win. The points are off now to 6 points for Hayo. Kanemaru in 6. However, during the post-match, Hayo tried to regain his pet, of course, but once again, House of Losers decided to torment him by taking the animal again. But it's dumb. These guys need to be wiped out. Now, our next matches are part of the 8 block. First, we have Daiki Nagai versus Master Wato. Now, obviously, as you all know, Daiki Nagai has not picked up a win so far in this entire tournament, despite that he wanted to be in this because, of course, Doiki, being a coward that he is, being the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, he's like, I don't need to be in this tournament because I'm the champion. Yeah, he's a coward. Every champion who's IWGP has faced off. They are not afraid because they want to show they are tough as hell. Doiki's not one of them. But however, of course, this match, I knew that Wato was going to pick up the win when he applied the Su Tentaku, which is the German suplex. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. However, the point system tells us, as I mentioned, Daiki Nagai, he is still at the bottom with 0. But as for Master Wato, he is now in up to 10 points. Our next match, we have Ryosuke Taguchi taking on Robbie X. Now, what's funny is Robbie X showed up with the wig, but I think Taguchi just didn't expect him from that, because I'm sure he was hoping to make fun of him for being bald, but nope, he just outsmarted him. But of course, it was not going to last until Robbie X first supplied the X marked the spot, then the X Express, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, se acabó. So Robbie X, of course, walked away with the total points of 8, leaving Taguchi in 6. Now, this is a bit of a rematch between these guys. Nick Wayne versus Titan. Of course, they have run into each other before, both on Best of the Super Juniors and in Ring of Honor. If you guys remember, Titan was able to withstand the, what was it? The Proving Ground match that happened in Mexico City last year for Grand Slam Mexico, and he gets a title opportunity. That is something I'm sure Nick Wayne hasn't forgotten. He was determined to pick up the win. And of course, there were many attempts that Nick Wayne applied the what was it? The Nick Wayne, the Wayne's World, but it didn't capitalize until he finally had that opportunity. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Nick Wayne picked up the win, obtaining the total points of 8, leaving Titan in 10. So right now, as you know, we only have 2 people tied up in 10, Master Wato and Titan. So something has got to give in the next couple of matches. Now, our main event, we have Valiente versus Kose Fujita. Obviously, it was a very interesting matchup, but however, I kind of had that feeling as a fan that Kose Fujita is going to pick up the win, and that's exactly what he did. He won by pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. He has the total points of 8, leaving Valiente Jr. with just 4. So sooner or later, we're almost possibly maybe through the midpoint. I'm not sure yet, but I will continue to follow with New Japan, see how things will roll from there. So right now I think we're done. So let's move on to our last thing to wrap up this episode: news updates. Alright, so welcome to our news updates. Now, for upcoming events, of course, we'll mostly have the GCW from upcoming events for the month of July. Now, as you know, we have the Bash at the Ballpark in Coney Island on the 4th of July, of course. They just announced names that we're participating for that. We have, of course, Nick F. Gage, Matt Tremont, Charles Mason, Marcus Mathers, Atticus Cogar, Bear Bronson, Busta and the Brain. Then, of course, as you know, they make their debut in Manchester, New Hampshire for Melee in Hampshire on the 12th of July. 4 names have been mentioned for this upcoming event: Atticus Cogar, Bear Bronson, Matt Tremont, and Busta and the Brain. So that's pretty much it for upcoming events. Now, here are some interesting developments. Now, as you all know, Leon Slater could have broken the record as the longest reigning TNA X Division champion. However, new reports are saying that TNA did not want him to break the record. Now, I know some people would say, why? Well, according to what was later revealed by, I think it was Fightful or Wrestling Observer. Yeah, Wrestling Observer. The belief is that Leon Slater, his contract is almost up, and the belief that he could be leaving for WWE or AEW. Now, I don't know what that has to do with him not breaking the record, to be fair. It makes no effing sense for me about that. I mean, they could have just at least allowed him to do something good in his accolades, but no. I don't know what that means, but yes, that's what they're saying. Now, as you know, recently Gabe Kidd has been on social media, and apparently he went on social media about saying this, that he wants to do for Rossy Ogawa. And he said this on his social media. He says, "One day I'm gonna bust a fat shit on this twat head, bro." So I don't know exactly what he meant by that. So, I mean, I know he's been acting up a little weird, but yes. Now, as you may heard, there's been a lot of reaction about Index, of course, Indi Hartwell and Dexter Lumis, that sort of thing, since her release. And this, well, we know both of them have been released, and this is what she said on the Battleground podcast. "I kept some of Dexter's dreads as a memento. Honestly, I personally didn't expect the reaction to be that good. The video got a lot of traction. We filmed it a lot with the guy in Orlando called Harry, who's an amazing photographer and videographer. Dexter and I should call him Sam. Sam and I were thinking, shall we film this ourselves or should we get someone to film it? I'm glad we got Harry to film it, because the way he did it and edited it came off so cool. I like a perfect way to show Sam saying goodbye to the old character and going back to his roots. I think the video came out amazing. I'm proud of it. I'm so proud of him, and I'm just grateful that I have a lot of people love it." Now, for those who don't know, Dexter Lumis's old indie wrestling name was known as Samuel Shaw, which, of course, by short, is Sam. So most likely Dexter Lumis will be no more, like saying goodbye to Dexter, hello again, Samuel Shaw. So that's what I think is going on, but it's great. Now, a very interesting subject came around. Many of you know Dakota Kai, or as we know her now, Charlie. There was one thing that someone mentioned about that she should use a last name instead of having just the name Charlie. And she kind of said that it's under construction. And this is what she said at Ring the Bell. I keep hearing people say I need to add a last name because Charlie by itself, I agree. I just can't be okay. I'm Charlie Brooks. So yeah, I hear you, and you understand that By stun that by itself, it sounds very like very me. It is my actual nickname, so you know that I mean. It's under construction. We'll get back on it. So basically, she knows that the name Charlie is not. How do I say? It should not help. It should help her out more, and I understand that. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you heard this or not. There's been a lot of stories coming up about WWE wants to revive a new version of NWO, and the idea where they were going is having um, Shinsuke Nakamura, Claudio, and two other guys to revive it. Now, personally, no one can match up the classic NWO that we remember back in WCW. I think many of you can agree. But I think it was kind of dumb, and I'm glad that they didn't do it. However, Bischoff had something to say about that, and Fightful Select kind of got that. He says that he knew nothing about this, and this reboot was during the COVID era. And it could be silly internet stupid shit, you know? Yeah, I could say that. I mean, look, if you're planning to revive an NWO thing, I think you should talk to Eric Bischoff since he was one of the creators of that. But they didn't do so. But we'll see how. I don't think it's gonna happen, to be honest with you. But we'll leave it as that. You know, I think it's silly that they're planning to revive it back then. But no, it's dumb. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Now, before I proceed, some of you may question, why do I find it intriguing that I had both All Japan Pro Wrestling and New Japan together? Well, it's because of the history, because of their founders, in case anybody asks. For those who don't know, New Japan Pro Wrestling was founded by Antonio Inoki, and as for All Japan, it was founded by Shuhei Giant Baba, of course. These guys actually were friends. They actually were in the same promotion back in the 60s. But when the company they were in kind of, how do I say, went out of business, they wanted to get into business for themselves together. But however, during the time, they couldn't decide in what direction, which led, of course, Antonio Inoki going into that shoot fighting or strong style, and of course, Giant Baba with the King's Road, of course. And that kind of sets it up right there. And you can say they're rivals, I'm not going to lie about that. But however, All Japan Pro Wrestling is a completely different type of company away from what New Japan is. I mean, All Japan has been a very popular company back in the 80s to the early 90s until, of course, John Baba passed away and there was the exodus that led to Pro Wrestling Noah, that sort of thing. I know what some of you are going to think. Have I ever done a New Japan, All Japan, and Pro Wrestling Noah review in the same thing? No, I haven't. But I would love to do so, see how that goes. But we'll just have to wait. Now, as for upcoming events, upcoming episode, my bad, I think we do have a collision event taking place. Let me look it up real quick because I'm not 100% sure. Yes, we do. And I do believe we do have another New Japan show too as well. So that's going to be on the cards. I do know there is a Stardom event as we are heading to the conversion, I believe, because we have some preliminary matches taking place. So that is something we are expecting. So we'll see how that plays out too. Now, I'm not sure about Stardom, but we'll see. But for now, we'll leave things as it is and move forward. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.